Yeah. Like my brain tries to go faster than my body can like follow it.
Well, that's excellent. Are you one of those like toaster oven bed people? Just like pop out of bed?
Oh no! I mean I'm a normal.
Normal get out of bed?
Yeah.
I stayed with the girl one time.
Good morning.
Morning, Josh.
She was an intern. And I don't know if she
Oh, I need to
was
turn off my
stressed
mic.
or catch her sleeping in or something, but
Let's
oh,
see
my
here.
goodness, it just-
Weird. I can figure this out.
Oh, is it doing something with the
Maybe.
audio?
Hey, Josh, can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. I'm testing out. I have a computer mic and also a hand mic too. So I'm not sure if I have double audio happening here or not.
No, it actually sounds pretty good. And I don't hear all that background noise that I was at first.
Sweet.
Oh, it must be if you put the little arrow down there.
Okay. All right, Josh. I'm going to make you a co-host. Do you want to practice share your screen?
Okay, let me give that a shot here.
But the problem is the audio from the Zoom isn't going out the speakers. You know?
Oh,
But
How's that? Does that work?
yeah, that's awesome. Oh, okay. I understand what you want me to do.
I don't have a solution yet.
Okay.
I'm just stating the problem.
Oh, good. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, right now we're
This
set up in
is,
a co-working space and
Hi.
we have an audio system set up, but there's no audio coming out of it.
Okay, interesting. So it's just a system. It's not an audio system yet.
Yeah. And
Is it
we have
really
a mic set up, 1, 2. So my mic isn't that loud.
You want it louder?
Well, I need to bring it up higher.
I can turn it up.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it up. Okay. Josh, where are you calling from?
I'm in Orlando at the moment. Yeah.
Are you from there or you just been down there for a while?
From Florida originally, but I've been in Orlando for about 4 years after a 12-year hiatus out in Bend, Oregon.
Oh, nice.
So I was out that side of the country for a while.
I heard Bend, Oregon is a pretty awesome place to live.
It is awesome. It's amazing.
Then why'd you leave?
Cold. I couldn't handle those the winters anymore. So
That would be sweet if that worked. Is that working? Can you say something, Josh?
testing. Hello. Can you hear me? I promise I won't sing because everyone will leave. But I can.
Oh my God!
I can tell a joke. Would that help?
Go for it. What joke you got for me?
All right. 2 windmills are out in a wind farm, and one turns to the other and says, "Hey, what's your favorite kind of music?" To which the other replied, "I'm a big metal fan."
It's awesome.
Is it too early for
Test
dad
1,
jokes?
2. 1, 2. Test 1, 2. 1, 2.
The only thing I would say is, I can hear myself delayed, so you just have to be on mute when I present. Otherwise, I won't be able to hear too well.
Interesting. So I'm gonna go on mute for a second and then start talking. Let me know if you are still delayed.
Okay. Testing. Yeah, it sounds fine to me. So.
Okay. Yeah, please give us more feedback if there's more delay or issues as well.
Okay.
Or feedback as well.
Feedback, yes. I'll give you feedback on the feedback.
Yes, exactly. Good morning, Rob. Is Rob there? Oh.
Okay, let's so
Sorry, I stepped away for just a second here. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you, Rob.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Nick, for putting this together. Appreciate that. Looking forward to chatting with everybody.
Rob, I'm going to make you a co-host right now if you want to practice sharing your screen.
Yeah. Let's try that. Share. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Love it. Okay, great.
Rob, where are you calling from today?
From Denver.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. How about you?
Right now we're in green spaces in Rhino, but I live in the Wash Park area.
Oh, okay. What's the thing on your lapel there?
It's a microphone that we're testing out on.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're doing today a trial run at green spaces because next week we want to host the event here. We have a open space, tables, and we have a screen here. Look, there you are.
Very cool. That's awesome. So it's like kind of a hybrid event.
Yeah, and see if you can make this work where the presenter presents to the audience, but also has the Zoom meeting here as well.
That's super cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And see if we can make this work with the audio too.
Oh,
And Josh was saying that the audio is delayed a little bit, so.
can you walk far away and see if they can hear you?
Okay.
See if you can hear Nick
You
talking.
guys hear me? 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh,
Can you hear him?
Yeah,
Little
it's
bit.
pains, but we can. Yeah.
It's faint.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I have to strain a little bit to hear them, but if people speak loud,
Am I still faint? Not faint.
Yeah.
Now. 1, 2.
Oh. Oh, now you're.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for helping us.
Yeah, of course.
Totally. Thank you guys for helping.
Cool thing is, once it's all figured out, then they'll have it for, they'll be ready forever.
Right? It's gonna be so great.
There's actually good lights right behind you for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's a little trail, right, like literally right behind you.
We were.
Right. All right, guys. It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get started here. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna overload the Zoom chat with a bunch of links. There it is. Okay, so in the Zoom chat is going to be our slide deck, our website, YouTube channel, our LinkedIn group, my LinkedIn link if you want to connect with me, and also the presenter links and emails as well. Let me get to the mode. A couple housekeeping. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. Also use the raise hand button to ask a question during the meeting. You're welcome to use the Zoom chat feature to share links and connect with people directly. And also recommend changing your name in Zoom. You can hit your square, the top right corner, rename, and you can do maybe first name, job title, or first name company. But we're gonna get started.
1MCDEN is a weekly educational program developed by the Boston Foundation. Over the years, we've added more cities. It's a great energy to see what's happening across the country. And what I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable. So we're going to lead other people that have ideas too. It helps people to lead. So you know what? My idea is worth it. It's worth it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I can still go out and try to do it.
Well, good morning, my Hollywood Squares, and also my Green Space audience as well. My name is Nick Campion. I'll be your MC for today. You're welcome to add me on LinkedIn that I shared in the Zoom chat. Here at 1MCDEN Cups, we meet every Wednesday at Zoom until further notice. I'm not sure if I should talk to you or the people on Zoom. We're going to do virtual coffee at every meeting. We're going to show up your coffee mug. This is mine for today. On my 1MCDEN Cups sticker. We're here to do 6-minute presentations, then 15 to 20 minutes of audience feedback and questions. It's a great place for entrepreneurs to be vulnerable, open, and transparent. We're here to discuss ideas, not people, and build connections, both through Zoom and face-to-face as well. All right, I'm gonna look at the Zoom room. Who is new to 1MCDEN Cups? Anybody?
Me.
Okay, we have some people here too, okay. Awesome. I'm going to send out a poll real quick, just asking if you're new to 1 Million Cups and do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? If you don't know, we do have a website. It's 1millioncups.com/Denver. Go to this site. You can sign up for a free membership. You can also follow us. When you follow, then you will get our weekly email on who's presenting each week. Oh, wait. We do have a LinkedIn group. After the meetings, I do post all the different links are shared between members and also post who presented each week in our LinkedIn group. So please join it, and also it's a great place to connect with other members. Shout out to our sponsors. We have Enterprise, Founders Craft, Real Estate Coffee, Good Elephant, Pono Media, Colorado Lending Source, Rocky Mountain Photography, Comments on Champa, and the WeWork Labs. Let's give everyone a big round of applause. Also need to add green spaces to that as well. Shout out to the org team. We have myself, Gregarious, Kevin, Carter, and Ali. And we also have Courtney and Josh. I'm going to add you guys to our slide deck as well. So thanks for joining the team. We always need help. So if you want to be part of us, please let me know. Now I'm looking to do some volunteer introductions. What I'm looking for is to get 3 people just to introduce themselves. Name, what you do, something to share about, hobby, or how you heard about 1 Million Cups. I'll take volunteers. If not, I'm gonna just call on people. Anybody like to do a quick introduction at all? Maybe Courtney? You want to introduce yourself?
That sounds like fun.
Okay, come on over here.
Just gonna hold this here. So my name is Courtney. I just recently moved to Denver. I am really enjoying the city. We moved here honestly for the beer, but overall for the people as well. They're great too. Just started working at Green Spaces, had a great time with Ali, and am looking forward to getting to know each of you. My passion is really just problem solving. So if you're ever just like, God, I wish I knew how to do this, whether it's a Rubik's Cube or launching a website or how to, break up with your girlfriend, any of those can help. Love it. Pass it back over.
Thank you, Courtney. All right. Who else would like to do an introduction? I will call.
I can do it.
Is
I'll
it
go for it.
Owen?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So my name's Owen Ferguson. I am from Nassau, Bahamas, but I spent 4 years living in Minnesota. I was a student at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. Myself and 3 other classmates, we started a business last summer and have been able to present to about 5 other 1 Million Cups communities, and we'll be presenting to this one in 2 weeks. So yeah, just joining now, getting a feel for the community here, and I'm looking forward to see what presenter there is today.
Thanks, Owen. Ashley, do you want to do an introduction?
Sure, let me get on video here. Hi, everyone. My name's Ashley Berghoff. I've been coming to this 1 Million Cups for a few months now. It's such a great group. I am a systems strategist and really excited about my book coming out in less than a month now. So just trying to keep my head above water with those final pieces. But yeah, just so excited for warmth and longer days and being able to potentially come and join you guys in person soon.
Thank you, Ashley. Now I'm going to ask Josh. You want to introduce yourself?
I have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the slide?
You can just stand here and.
Okay. Good morning, guys. Josh Butchness. I work with Venture HR. We do everything from payroll to health benefits for small businesses. I've been coming to this Million Cups group since probably July of last year, and it's just been a really great place to kind of meet people and get to know the community here in Denver.
Cool. Thank you, Josh, and thank you for all my volunteers. Later on today, we're gonna do some breakout rooms, also some community announcements. So start thinking what you might want to say. And we're gonna move on to our presentations. Here at 1 Million Cups Denver, we have a variety of different presentation types we're open to. So if you have an idea that you just thought of and we get some feedback on it, apply to present. You have a product you're out to market, you have customers, you want to get feedback on what's going on right now, apply to present. If you are looking to raise money and have an investor presentation, we're open to those type of presentations as well. If you're a business expert related to startups in terms of finance, marketing, something that would really help or HR, that'd be related to a entrepreneur, apply to present. We're also looking for organizations related to entrepreneurs and startups to present on their organization, and also past presenters as well. So we're going to move on to our first presentation, which is going to be Power Down. Power Down is a B2B company that helps others have a better relationship with technology so people can use less technology and have better lives. Let's give a big round of applause to Rob and Power Down.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that, Nick. Definitely looking forward to presenting to you guys. I'm just going to pull up the presentation here. Can everybody see that? Everybody can see it. Okay, great. So again, guys, my name is Rob Krechak. I'm here to present to you my company, Power Down, and the title of my presentation is How to Get at Least One Day Back Each Week. So before we begin, I'd like to ask you to do two things. The first one is that I really hope that you can have an open mind here. Some of the things that I say are going to be very controversial and may make you defensive or anxious or may be a little bit outside the box, and that's okay. I want you to embrace those feelings and realize that that's normal. I would also ask that you, if you want, you can put your phone in airplane mode because I think you're going to be more present and get more out of this presentation, and you'll see why by the end. My goals for you today for this presentation are to have more good days at work and fewer bad days. I'm going to let you see behind the curtain of the tech world and understand what's happening to you all the time, every day with technology. I will get you one full day back each week, believe it or not. I hope to positively impact your life, improve your mental health and well-being, reduce stress, and most importantly for me, and the reason I started the company, is to restore human connection. So a very brief story about myself. When I was in high school, I had super bad acne, and this caused me to be very socially anxious and not very confident. And that in turn actually allowed me or made me addicted to video games. And I use that as an outlet. And so when I talk about all this stuff today, this is very personal to me because I was addicted to technology before most people even had a computer in their house. This was in the mid-90s. And so this is a very personal topic to me. It's not just something that I'm researching for fun. It's something that I personally resonate with. Now, what we're going to be talking about today, there is no degree in this. It's a combination of biology, psychology, sociology, and technology. All these things combined is why I think you're going to find it helpful, because there's not really somebody who looks at all these things together. On the left is a picture of my bookshelf, and I have read the vast majority of these books about this topic in the last 3 to 4 years to become very knowledgeable and become an expert in this. So I really wanted to try to understand, like, what is the problem with life in the United States? And we clearly have a rising obesity epidemic. That's nothing new. But we also have a rising mental health crisis. And this is a graph of depressive symptoms in teens. And you can see right around 2012, they started to skyrocket. 2012 was coincidentally the same year when smartphone penetration reached 50% in the United States. Very interesting coincidence. But it's not just teens. We also have an overall health crisis. Our suicide rate in the United States is the highest of any developed country in the world, the highest in the world. And unfortunately, of 163 countries that were measured over a decade, our quality of life has decreased the most over this entire decade, this last decade, more than any of other 163 countries, which is really messed up. I believe the source of a lot of these problems, not all of them, but a lot of them, is what's on this graph here. And there's a lot of numbers, you don't need to worry about all of them, but here's the key takeaway. In a two-year time frame, the amount of time that the average person in the United States is spending on their phone is up 59%. We are now spending 3 hours and 46 minutes a day on our technology, and total media time is 12 hours and 21 minutes a day for the average person. Now, it's not just how we're using, or it's not just how much we're using technology, though, it's how we're using it that's really bad, which I will show you by the end of this presentation. What is the implication for you and your job? What this graph is from is a 2012 McKinsey study. What it shows is that we spend 61% of our work week doing busy work bullshit activities that provide little to no value, and we only spend 39% of our work week actually doing our fucking jobs. So, we are wasting an insane amount of time at our work, in our jobs and at our work every single week. And I'm here to help you get this back. I believe that the way we're using technology and how addicted we are to it is our greatest threat to humanity in our lifetime, and that we need to do something about it today. I'm going to present to you 8 solutions here. They're all fully reversible. You're in full control of how many you'd want to implement, and they're very simple. There's no new systems to use. They are about balance, and I do want to let you know that there are some trade-offs that you will experience by implementing each solution. But the reason that I know that these are effective is I personally have implemented all 8 of these in my own life, and they have made such a difference in how much I can accomplish and how much better my mental health is. It's been incredible for me, and that's why I want to share them with you. Solution number 1 is to establish standards of communication. And what this means is you're going to help people understand how and when you want to communicate. Because if you don't do that, all the other people that communicate with you, like your employees, your boss, your friends and family, they just need to guess how and when they need to communicate with you, which dramatically increases their stress and burnout. And this is really a huge negative. People don't understand this though. Solution number 2 is to disable almost all phone notifications. What I have done personally is I've disabled everything except for text, phone, and then travel related notifications. So yes, I have disabled email, which we'll talk about in a minute here. The reason why this is so important is the average person gets 64 notifications on their phone per day. That's once every 15 waking minutes that you are interrupted every single day. And so here's the most important part about all this technology stuff. It's not just smartphone related, it's also related to computers. Every single time all this technology is notifying us, it activates our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight system that prepares us to survive in an adverse situation. The huge part about this though which is really alarming, is that this sympathetic nervous system needs 20 to 30 minutes to fully recover. So if you do the math, we're being interrupted all the time, and our sympathetic nervous system is constantly being activated all day, every day. And this, I believe, guys, is why our whole society is in a constant state of stress and anxiety. It's from all these notifications with technology, and it's actually getting worse over time. It's getting worse. So solution number 3 is to cut out the news. Believe it or not, the average person spends 70 minutes a day following news, which is insane. But the biggest problem with this is fear and anxiety is the business model of news companies. They want you to pay attention to negative shit because that gets more eyeballs, which gets them more advertising dollars, which makes them more profitable. A quick study I'll tell you about: people who watch only 3 minutes, just 3 minutes of negative news in the morning, are 27% more likely to report their day as unhappy 6 to 8 hours later. So 3 minutes of negative news in the morning ruins your whole freaking day. It's unbelievable how many people every day are actually doing that. It's probably the majority of the US population. Solution number 4 is one of the ones that's been most personally impactful for me and made one of the biggest differences. Time blocking your calendar is so important. So every day from 8 to 11, I block off that time in my calendar, except for on days like today, for instance, when I have something that I cannot reschedule. But every day from 8 to 11, I do the most important 1 or 2 things that day for me. And it's different every day. But during this time, I do not answer emails. I do not schedule phone calls. I do not have any meetings. And again, I do not check my email. I do not check my email during this time. Here's what the science behind why this is important. The average person, a study showed, checks our email or messaging inboxes once every 6 minutes, and we switch tasks once every 3 minutes, okay? So it takes you 23 minutes to return to a state of deep work after you've been working on something and you're in flow, what's called flow. So again, doing the math on this, the average person isn't ever getting into flow any part of their day at all, which is why we are doing such low quality, shitty work today, because we're constantly interrupted all the time and are frazzled and feel like crap. This is why we are just constantly switching between stuff all the time, which is making us mental wrecks. Now, solution number 5 is one of my favorites. What if I told you there's something you could do in 30 seconds? It will literally take you 30 seconds. It would greatly reduce your stress, give you a full hour of every single day back, and increase your happiness equivalent to a $30,000 increase in annual pay. Are you interested? It takes 30 seconds. Here's what it is. You have to delete social media from your phone. I'm not saying don't use it at all, but delete it from your phone and only use it on laptops and computers. This is my most passionate topic in this whole conversation. And I could spend an hour talking about this, but social media is the cigarette of the 21st century. 20 years from now, we're going to be like, holy shit, we could not believe what we were doing with social media and how negatively it is impacting people. Here's a summary from a study. The use of social media may detract from face-to-face relationships, reduce investment in meaningful activities, increase sedentary behavior through more screen time, lead to internet addiction, and erode self-esteem through unfavorable social comparison. This is actually way worse than cigarettes if you look at all that stuff. It's ridiculously way worse. And it's exponentially worse for kids, which is another topic we could talk about for an entire hour in and of itself. Solution number 6, silence Slack and Teams. What I mean by that is I want you to delete disable all the notifications. All these notifications and chatting back and forth is contributing to the 61% of our day where we're doing busy work bullshit that feels productive, but it isn't, that I referenced earlier from that McKinsey study. Here's my favorite quote about this. Group chat, like being on Slack, is like being in an all-day meeting with random participants and no agenda. Who would honestly attend that meeting? That's freaking insane, but that's essentially what you're doing if you're keeping your Slack up all the time. Now, I want you to be most open-minded for this next one. And this is something I've personally done. I've deleted all email from my phone, all of it. No email apps whatsoever. I do not access email from my phone. I know that this is blowing people's minds right now, but here's the science behind this. The reason that email is so addictive is because it uses the same principles from slot machines, intermittent variable rewards, and it also has social reciprocity. So when I email someone, they feel socially obligated to email me back. Well, the thing is this is creating an incredible pull for you to get in your email, but you have to realize that we functioned before email was invented, and we can still function without it on our phones. Steve Jobs passed away, and after he did, Apple became the most valuable company in the world. I promise you that if you don't answer your email once every 15 minutes, your company and your employees will survive. If Apple could survive without Steve Jobs, you can survive without 2 hours in your inbox, I promise you. The other statistic is the average professional today is spending upwards of 4 hours answering their email. Is our job title professional email answerer? Because that's really what it's coming down to today, honestly, guys. And it's just blowing my mind how much time this is sucking. It's freaking nuts. Number 8 is my most favorite solution here. And the whole reason I started this company is to restore human connection with other people. And by the way, I wish I was doing this in person with you guys because I would be able to much more connect and better able to connect with you. The greatest contributor to our happiness as humans is the quality of our relationships. And our most meaningful moments in life, they don't involve technology. The mere presence of a cell phone, just having a cell phone on a table, even if it is turned off and face down, reduces feelings of empathy, trust, and closeness between two people. Imagine what this is doing to our society just by having cell phones out on a dinner table. Now, the other thing that people don't get is human voice and touch release oxytocin, which is a chemical that calms us down. We don't get this from emailing or texting. So when I text my mom, "I love you, Mom," that is very different chemically than me calling my mom and saying over the phone, "Hey, Mom, I love you," versus me going to my mom in person and giving her a hug and telling her, "I love you, Mom," in person. All three of those are chemically very different. And unfortunately, all of our communication is trending toward texting Mom, "I love you," instead of giving Mom a hug and telling her I love her in person, which I think is really sad. The average American hasn't made a friend in the last 5 years, which to me is one of the most truly sad statistics in this whole presentation. And if I had to summarize this problem in 4 words, it would just be simply that software is eating humanity. Now, there's a ton of other areas I haven't covered here. Nighttime habits, children's sleep, teens, video games, YouTube, online bullying, the list goes on and on. I've researched all of these things related to this topic, and we could talk about all of these for a long time. I wanted to share with you, though, that if you did everything that I suggested in this presentation, you wouldn't actually just save 1 day a week. You would save 20 hours a week. 20 hours per week is what I think that the average person could save if they implemented this stuff. What that means for you as a business owner or as an employee is that you essentially would be getting a $10,000 pay increase, or you're, as an employer, you're saving at least $10,000 per employee per year with an increase in productivity per year per employee, 10 grand. So what I want to let you guys know is that I have 2 or 3 more spots left for clients who would get a discount because I just started this company. I am currently working with 5 people, and they've all seen very substantial increases in time saved in the first couple of weeks I've worked with them. So I just want to let you know that if you're interested in chatting with me more about working with me, my contact information is at the front of this presentation. But the last thing that I'll leave you guys with, and I would love some feedback, is not only what could we accomplish, but who could we become together if we decide collectively to look at our screens less and connect more with humans? Who could we become together? I really hope that the end of this presentation leads you to think about that a little bit. I really appreciate your time today, and I definitely look forward to some feedback and questions from you guys.
So let's start off with a big round of applause.
Thanks.
So Rob, just to restate, what feedback do you want from the audience?
Yeah, so the feedback that I need is, I would like to understand, and I know I covered so many different topics, but which of the information that I presented resonates most with you, or you think is most impactful or interesting? And what then, based on that information, do you believe that the business model is for me with this? Because right now, what I'm struggling with is figuring out a viable business model. The only one that I can think of so far is just coaching people, usually CEOs and companies, individually about this topic. But I need to find something that's more scalable, and I don't quite understand what that would be yet. So any feedback on that would be really helpful.
Awesome. So if you can use the raise hand button, it's under the reactions feature of Zoom. For the audience members, just like raise your hand and I could call on you as well. Kind of weird, I know. But we'll start with Josh and Zoom. Go ahead.
Dude, Rob, absolutely awesome presentation. I have half a page of notes, so I'm not even sure where to begin. I just want to bring up a few things. I love your theme of the presentation, getting back a day. I love that you spend so much time selling the problem. Too many people sell their solution up front and they don't discuss what's really going on, and I appreciate that. And personally, I love how direct you are. So you're a man after my own heart, man. I love that. And something especially that resonated with me, and that I've been talking about as well with not just my clients, but just people in general.
Yeah.
Social media, social media is the mental cigarette of the 21st century. And because that's what it is. We're essentially mentally smoking. And you talk about neurotransmitters, which I appreciate. One I would probably bring into the fold, because it's so important, is dopamine.
Yeah.
It's that addiction, right? So as you're smoking your mental cigarette, you're getting those dopamine hits. Every like is kind of making you feel like you're worth something, even though you're not, and it's distracting you. And then when you try and get off, you go through withdrawals.
Yep.
So I'm gonna end with that. I got a bunch more stuff, but talk about, do people go through withdrawals when they get off social media because of that dopamine addiction? And how do you help people in that sense?
Yeah, is that, and so are you suggesting that I would say that in the presentation, or is it a question?
Well, it's both. I definitely think it should be part of the message too, that
Yeah.
it's truly, it's an addiction. And you can talk about, oxytocin.
Yeah.
And I think you had another neurotransmitter in there. But I imagine people do go through withdrawals, and how do you help them with that?
Yeah, so I was actually just piecing together some other thoughts about this morning, and I really, first of all, appreciate your feedback, Josh. In a much more expanded version of this, because this normally takes me an hour, I do talk about that a lot more. But here's the most interesting part. In Facebook themselves have actually released studies saying this information I'm about to tell you. Social media encourages unfavorable social comparisons, meaning I look at other people's lives and I feel shittier about myself because I see the Jenners and how rich they are, or my next door neighbor who has 5 Teslas or whatever, right? And so this unfavorable social comparison makes people feel more depressed and lowers their self-esteem. Ironically, then, the people who have lower self-esteem care more about Facebook engagement, meaning likes, comments, and posts about in their own posts. So Facebook has created something that makes people feel shittier about themselves and then turn to their own product to make them think that they're feeling better about themselves when it actually even makes them feel worse. So it's like a downward spiral that, unfortunately, unless people are made aware that this is happening, there is no like easy solution. It's like the perfect mental trap for people. And I think it's truly sad that they are exploiting human nature and human psychology in this way. I don't know how these people can wake up every morning and say that they're doing something good for the world. I really don't. And the scariest part is Facebook just announced that they're going to make Instagram for kids, like for like under 12 years old. Are you shitting me? Like, I cannot fathom how this would be good for any little kid. There's no way on this planet. And by the way, the social comparison is the strongest for kids. Like, the younger you are, the more social comparison you do on social media, as shown by a Facebook study. So 12-year-olds have the highest social comparison, and it slowly declines over with age. Crazy.
Okay. Thanks, Josh, for the question feedback. Owen, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I want to echo Josh's feedback yeah, I really appreciate all the information and everything you had to share. So thank you so much. My question is, I guess, on industry positioning. So what you're doing right now, like, is there anything you would compare your business to or your services to on whether it's on a bigger scale or something that's on a that's in a comparable stage in this process as you are, and I guess what makes you different from them?
Yeah, thank you, Owen. I appreciate the feedback and the question. So I would say the company that does the closest to what I'm suggesting is a company called White Space at Work, and they have these mini educational videos that they sell to companies like Nike and, ironically, actually Facebook, believe it or not. And they're like micro learning that introduce one topic each week, and then help people implement these topics at their jobs. I'm thinking that I would do this something similar as a business model, but just have a slant more toward technology use and all the negative mental health repercussions, because they're focused more on like productivity, and I am too, to a degree. But it's like mine is like the intersection of productivity, mental health, and well-being, whereas a lot of these other like let's call them productivity coaches only focus on productivity. But I think that these are all very interrelated. And so I think this integrated approach is what makes me different than other people. Like I was saying, this is in the beginning, this is a combination of biology, technology, sociology, and psychology, which very few people are looking at all those combined.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I think that's honestly a really good approach to it, to take that mental health approach as kind of the, I guess, the primary objective, which is something I think is super important and gives you a really good edge. So yeah, that's awesome. Good luck with all your work.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Owen.
All right. Thanks, Owen. Next, we're going to go Josh, then Hannah. So Josh in the audience here has a question. We need to work on our camera.
No worries.
Yes, but yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Nick, I think you muted yourself.
Okay, I can't mute the computer. All right, go ahead.
It resonated with me in a lot of different ways, and I actually took like a 6-month gap between jobs, and that's when I realized I had a problem, right? I don't know if this is AA, but I'm just going to talk about my problem a little bit. I was picking up my phone, even though I knew I was going to be away for 6 months. I continued to pick up my phone and look at it like somebody was trying to contact me. I wasn't even in the country for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, I couldn't put it down.
Wow.
So when I came back to the States and now my current job, I'm setting up things similar to what you're going now. I would love to sit down and talk with you about, what your plan and how you would take this out to people. But I don't keep my work email on my phone. I have specific folder for work type items. minimizing notifications. I mean, you're crushing it. I believe in all these things like with a passion, man. So I'd be super excited to talk to you. I just love your presentation. That's my feedback.
Oh, well, Josh, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. There's a little audio.
Could you hear him okay?
Yeah, I can hear him. There's just a little feedback from the audio now, but I think it's better. So, Josh, so thank you so much for sharing that, man. That really means a lot to me. And, you know, I think that a lot of people are like you, where, you know, they feel like they're using technology in a way that they don't, it's not long-term sustainable. They don't know what to do. And that's the whole purpose of my company, is to bring awareness to all these habits that people have that are not healthy, and then help them change them over time. And a lot of these things sound really simple. And it's, the analogy I give is sort of like telling people, eat your vegetables and exercise. You know, 100% of the population knows that that's what they have to do to be healthy. Yet we have a $60 billion a year diet and fitness industry, right? It's not that simple. Like, doing these things, these 8 things sound easy. It is not easy at all. And I would just like to personally connect with you after this, man. You know, my contact information is at the beginning of the presentation. I'd love to just talk with you a little bit about what you went through personally and just chat, because it sounds like, you know, we'd have a lot to talk about. I'd really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Hannah, did you have a question or feedback?
Yeah, Rob, I think that I sent this over in the chat, the Tempest Sobriety School. They have a really wonderful framework for developing healthier habits.
Cool.
That's completely separate and an entirely different framework based on different theories and models and whatnot than AA. And I really like what Holly has done. So I'm curious if, you know, in looking at their models for developing healthier habits for people who have some version of addiction, it's not just for alcohol. I think that we can extrapolate, right, for other
Sure.
types. That could be a great resource for designing whatever program it is that you're looking to put together.
Thank you. That is a great, and that's exactly what I'm looking for, is, you know, a framework or a business model to emulate. And so it sounds like this is exactly something that I, you know, should be paying attention to. And I have not heard of that before. So thank you for that suggestion. That's really helpful. I will definitely look at that. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and Holly Whitaker's book, the second half of it is all about it's called Quit Like a Woman. The second half is all about building healthier habits. So that could be a great resource as well.
Quit Like a Woman. Okay, great. I'm writing it down. Thank you. That's really helpful. I appreciate that, Hannah.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. Great feedback. So, Rob, I have one final question for you. What as a community can we do for you?
Yeah, well, again, thank you everybody for your comments and questions. I really appreciate that. The number one ask that I have of the community is, can you put me, or do you want to be to chat with me about this? Because what I'm looking to do is just get this presentation in front of as many people as possible right now. I'm not looking to charge people to do the presentation. I just want people to be open-minded and give feedback and listen to what I have to say, because when I give this to people, a lot of people, it seems to resonate with them. And then they're like, yeah, I know someone else that needs to hear this, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you about them. And they make an introduction. So that's really what I'm looking for here. And again, my contact information is at the beginning of the slides. I don't even have a website for it yet because it's so new, but, and I'm happy to share the presentation with you guys. If you need to send it to someone else, or you just want it for your own information, you know, again, there's usually an hour that I give as the presentation. So there's a ton more information that we could go through if you're interested in learning more.
Well, Rob, you are deserving a round of applause.
Appreciate that.
Awesome. Now we're going to run into our next presentation, which is going to be personal brand clarity, ensuring entrepreneurs, but solo, get the word, it's hard for me to say, discover, articulate, and monetize their authentic personal brand so that they can eliminate their competition and finally get paid what they're worth. Let's give a big round of applause to Josh and personal brand clarity.
We still, oh, there we go. I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah, that word solopreneur is kind of a tough one too.
Yes, solopreneur.
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy word. All right. So I'm gonna do my best to follow Rob. He was awesome. I love that. And I got so much more. Rob, you and I have to connect. There's tons of questions I have. Okay, good morning, champs. And let me make sure everyone can see my screen. Good. So everyone take a deep breath. Look at the scene. Just relax for a second. Let's take some of Rob's advice and just breathe, because clarity is my favorite C word, by the way. All right, now buckle your seatbelts. So we've all been there, right? We've all been there. Our ideal prospect walks up to us at a networking event or a social situation, introduces themselves, and asks us the most important business question we're ever going to be asked. What do you do? Right? And then we freeze, we stumble, we fumble. Hey, if we get anything out, it's usually a borrowed title that's on our business card, or it's an entire itinerary and list of all this stuff that we do using our own technical jargon that no one seems to understand. And then our ideal prospect smiles and nods very politely and then excuses themselves to the bathroom. Hey, I know from experience, I've sent a lot of people to the bathroom. And here's what's strange. We know we're going to get this question. We know we're going to have to answer it. And yet we're not ready to articulate it. We don't know how. And we burn another business first impression. Look, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. Please don't. It's just to point out that sometimes the simple things that slip by us are also the most important things. Because as in life, we just don't always get a second chance for that first impression. I'm Josh Zeppis, and I am the identity archaeologist. So you're probably thinking, what the heck does that mean? Well, honestly, it means I have no competition, but that's a conversation for a little bit later. That title is not just some fancy moniker. It's not just some name I came up with. It is, but there's a reason behind it. It's how I take my genius and I apply it to a basic service. So I work with folks, we dig up all that genius and talent and everything that's inside of them. We dig all that up with questions. I dust it off, get rid of all that conditioning, all that stuff, all the stuff that is preventing you from getting where you want to go. And then we refine it. We polish it to a shiny finish. So we basically get it to a point where it shines so bright that your ideal client and prospects just can't ignore it. And they want to come, they want to come watch it shine. And I'm on a mission. Look, it's a dagger to my heart every time I hear a powerful and a solopreneur, an entrepreneur that has such great immense value, and they can't get that across to anyone else effectively. And it doesn't end very well. So the problem is we're just taught to be shy. We're taught to downplay our gifts. And I think that's the wrong way to go. It's not going to work out very well. So I'm on a mission to make sure that doesn't happen. I want people to be able to get that across, eliminate their competition, and just become more productive and profitable. So why do we struggle, right? What's the issue here? First, we just refuse to differentiate. Not that we can't, we just have this aversion to it. It's really weird. It's almost like we're afraid to stand out. Oh, did I just say that? Yes, I did. I'm gonna watch my language a little bit, but maybe every inch of originality, self-belief, courage was just beaten out of us growing up. Maybe we found it easier to borrow a brand from someone else, but a lot of us are just business shy. We just don't want to stand out because there's a degree of vulnerability and genuineness that we're told not to allow out. We don't know what we do. Well, okay, we sort of know in our minds, but we have a hard time articulating it. We just can't seem to get that message across in an effective way. And then we only offer what's on the shelf. Look, sometimes, I don't know if it ever feels like anyone else that maybe you're trying to sell a box of Cheerios, like there's so much competition out there. We're so crowded. Trying to convince people to buy your box of Cheerios versus the box store or the other place down the street that's selling the same box of Cheerios, that's a race to the bottom. That's not a place that you want to be. So look, you might be a solopreneur, but it's crowded out there. We just can't simply shout louder over the noise of a crowded industry and expect to be noticed, especially if we're saying the exact same thing as everybody else. We have to be saying something different, folks. We have to be meaning something different. We have to be feeling something different. So what can we do about it? I want to share 3 key steps to rising above the crowd so we can stop shouting so much and start shining a little bit. First step, discover your brand. Do not create it, please. I use the word discover on purpose. Don't create it. We're not talking about creating a business here and creating a brand around a business. We're talking about being authentic. People don't care what you know until they know why you care. So everyone today is just starving for authenticity. Maybe that's part of the social media thing that Rob was talking about, where everything is so fake. We're only seeing the shiny side of the apple, not the side that got bit on. But people want authenticity. So I say the word brand. Let me just define brand very briefly. A brand is that gut feeling that somebody else gets the moment you walk into a room, the moment they see your product or they see your service. And it's their perception of you, not yours. Very, very important. Now I'm going to take a risk here and probably get some virtual chairs thrown at me. These things, while valuable, are not a brand. So again, please, no virtual shares, but your 500 business cards you just invested in, it's not a brand. Your logo, not even close to a brand. Your product or service, unfortunately, not a brand. Your personality or good looks, thank goodness for me, because I'm 0 for 2, not a brand. Your borrowed title, that title that's on your door to your office, the one that's on your business card, it's not a differentiator, it's not a true brand. So make sure it's something authentic. Make sure that it comes out as truly what makes you unique. Second step is got to articulate the emotion. So we have to stop throwing up on people with all the logical reasons why they should work with us. People, and this is really just psychology, human behavior 101. People buy an emotion and they back it up later with logic. So the key is, how do you connect emotionally with people? How do you get that mental image in your head of what you do and how great it feels into the head of another person, into the mind and heart of that other person? Well, I'll be honest, the best way is telepathy, right? Just boom, straight over, no problem, perfect communication. Now, if you don't have the skill of telepathy, I understand, but that's where words and what you say, what you don't say, visuals, that's where all these other aspects come in, and they have to translate properly. So it's got to go from your head to words, and then from those words back to someone else's mind, and the images have to be the same. And that's it's a science and an art, both. So by the way, the picture you see, this is called the embrace. These 2 folks died together, were buried together in a hug 5,000 years ago. You think they're conveying some emotion? You think they have a story to tell? Yeah, stories, facts tell, but stories definitely sell. And finally, create a signature service. Look, we have to stop treating our business like a commodity, even if it is. So look, I was in the finance industry, I was in insurance. Insurance is a commodity. There's no 2 ways about it. Everyone's got the same stuff, more or less. So how do you stand out? Got to create something different. Imagine taking your genius, your passions, your talents, and applying it to an otherwise ordinary offering, to an otherwise just basic commoditized service. Because here's the truth. Your service, your product, I promise, is duplicatable. Someone out there can do it better, faster, cheaper. But you aren't. You cannot be duplicated. Your story, your purpose, your values, your mission, your stand. So if you think I'm suggesting that you can get paid for just being you, yeah, in a way I kind of am. So what's the journey like? What is the journey like if you wanted to create a personal brand? What does that look like? So I get this question a lot, so I'm throwing it into the presentation. This is truly what it looks like. Creating a personal brand starts with you. Doesn't start with the product. Forget the product for now. It starts with you. This is the clarity for the solopreneur themselves. This is that internal communication. This is interviewing, pulling out what you yourself maybe don't even know you have in there, ideating and coming up with a brand manifesto. A brand manifesto is just a basic foundation. It's a foundation of everything. Why, what, how, your story, your mission, all that stuff. So you've got this document that's like your constitution. It's your guiding light for everything else you do in marketing, communications, networking, prospecting, doesn't matter, anything. Second step, now it's time to articulate. Now that you are clear on why you get out of bed in the morning, now you can help other people become clear on it. One of the biggest mistakes I see that people make is they're not clear themselves. And if you don't know why you're getting out of bed, if you don't have that clarity, how can anyone else be clear? It's never going to happen. So now we can go talk to others. We can create soft business assets, things that, how do you answer the question, what do you do? Basic things like that, that lead to deeper discussions. Because if you're a coach, if you're an insurance person, if you're real estate, if you're a trainer, you need people in front of you. You need more time to explain what you do. And the way to do that is to get them curious enough to want to actually learn more. And then finally, monetize. This is everyone's favorite part. Monetize. Now we're building the hard assets. Now we're working on things like signature service, expert talks, webinars, things that directly impact people, bring value. And because you're bringing so much value, there's a transfer of value, which is you get paid. And how do you do that in a way where it's unique? Because when you're bringing something unique to the market, there's no competition, and it's rare. And rare things are always worth more, always more valuable. So what I do, the two places I play in this is I do a half-day hyper focus where we create anything. We just kind of ideate, we create, we role play. This is just to get people so they can go out and express themselves properly. And then I do a lot of one-on-one. All my packages are one-on-one because it's a very intimate process. My genius is asking the right questions. And I'm working on a group option that's going to be a 10-week accelerator, personal brand clarity accelerator. My number one goal overall, though, the real thing that I'm focused on, and that I think that everybody, if you do any sort of networking, you need to focus on, is raising the ROI on each and every conversation. Because I used to be an engineer. 20 years I spent in corporate America, sitting in a cubicle, not talking to a person, negative, shy, skeptical, all that. And I don't like grinding in sales. You know, some people go out there, you want to make 1,000 calls to get 100 sit downs to get 5 clients. Kudos, do it. If that's your personality and you love it, go for it. No judgment whatsoever. But if you're like me, that's not fun for me. So I'd rather, if I got to talk to 1,000 people, I want 700 sit downs and I want 80 clients out of it. I need to increase my efficiency, and that's what we're talking about. My big vision, community to personal free trade. This is what drives me every single day. This is why I get out of bed in the morning, and this is why I do what I do. I want you to do what you do best. I'll do what I do best, and we'll just share. And because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, it's easy for me to do what I do. It's easy for you to do what you do. Now there's an abundance, and we have to share with others. And when there's too much abundance, scarcity goes away. And when scarcity goes away, so goes hunger, homelessness, racism, hate, all political issues, all those things go away. And we can stay the hell off our phones too. I'm going to put that into my message from now on. That's fantastic. So thank you guys. I super appreciate it. I'm open for any questions, and I definitely appreciate 1 million cups and the ability to share. And hopefully everyone got at least one nugget. You don't have to take all of it, but hopefully at least there's one thing that can stick with you for a little bit. Thank you.
Let's start off, Josh, with a big round, wait for my audio clip, round of applause.
Around, okay, yes.
So Josh, just to restate, what feedback would you like from the audience?
Does what I do, or does anything I say make sense? For one, is it driven any curiosity to learn more? Because there's a lot I wasn't able to put in due to time constraints. And then where can I share this? And I'm like Rob, I share for free. If I could just bring value to an organization, if there's an organization out there that would appreciate kind of the straight talk about why we can't seem to attract people, why we're always chasing prospects, chasing people around, repelling them, I love it. I'd be happy to share for free, no charge, of course.
Awesome. Well, if you have feedback or a question, if you're in Zoom, use the raise hand button. If you're here in Green Spaces, use that actual hand you have.
The real Hank.
Courtney? All right, yeah, go ahead. Do you want to? Actually, yeah, we're going to use a microphone. I'm going to mute myself, see if this works. Oh, no, I have to stay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know if this thing works. Apparently you have to like scream into it in order for it to work. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, more or less.
We'll figure this out eventually. Okay, so we'll try the microphone and talking in. This could be
There you
exciting.
go.
Oh, it's okay. So my feedback and general question was how much you talked about unearthing and discovering and really making a reality out of what's inside you. And you said personal brand and all of this, but your presentation, while really well designed, I was a graphic designer for a long time, so I really appreciate all of the, asymmetry and things like that that you threw in, keeps it visually interesting. But I think something that would mean a lot to me, especially if I were going to work with you one-on-one, would be something that you unearthed like this morning. And this is a personal thing, but nothing means more to me than when somebody shows up to a presentation is like, I don't have a slide for this yet, but just this morning on my run, I was thinking this, or just yesterday, I was thinking this, because if your brand is your personality, that's evolving every day. And I think the most potent part of it is what hasn't been put into a study, what hasn't been, put into a slide or anything else. So I would love to hear from you now if you have, 30 seconds and some inspiration, but just something that wasn't rehearsed that you could share. That's just like, hey, this is really cool. And I don't have a slide about it, but you should check it out.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. I am constantly getting inspiration on all sorts of things. And to that point, and it's written here in my notes just because it came to me earlier today from something someone said on a prior meeting, is don't be a yam. My dad used to tell me, when I was a kid, I was always saying, I'm this, and he'd be like, stop being a yam. Don't be a yam. And I'm like, what do you mean a yam? Like a sweet potato? So I never really understood it till recently. And what he was saying is, stop talking about yourself. Stop, because in networking and when we're talking with people and trying to communicate, it's I am this. I am Josh. I am an identity archaeologist. I am this, and I do this, and I. And that's just one of the things that it just hit me that I need to focus on in my messaging is, in fact, I'm going to make this into a class. How do you introduce yourself without ever saying the word I? And that's actually part of what I do anyways, but it just came to me that I want to bring this into more focus and share that with people and make it a challenge to share without saying I. And I think the results, and I know the results will actually be amazing for that. So I don't know if that's kind of what you were talking about, but I constantly coming up with new ways to message, especially for my clients, because they're always on my mind.
Some great feedback, Courtney. Looks like we have Allie with a question.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi. I had just some general feedback for your presentation, just from my perspective. I'm generally a fan of like positive reinforcement, or and then that's not the right word for what I'm trying to say. But in your presentation, there were a lot of examples of what not to do, and I felt myself hoping for some more specific things to do, because it's like I didn't really come out of it feeling more confident about answering the question, what do you do? And so if you start with that, like that, when you started with that, I was like, oh, awesome, I feel that way. I'm like, and I was like, oh, this would be super cool if I came out of this presentation feeling more confident in that. But I just wanted to share the feedback that I didn't really come out with that.
Okay.
I got a lot of examples of what not to do, but I don't feel more confident. So I don't know how that's constructive. I hope it's.
No, that does help. That helps a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will definitely have to add a little more. Yes. I do talk a lot about, I do focus a lot on the problem, and maybe I just went a little too far. So I definitely will look at how I can incorporate more of the, give you the upswing, at least, especially at the end, just kind of bring it all back together into what we can do as opposed to what not to do.
Yeah, and even if you can, I was almost, I felt myself hoping for a little more workshop-y, like, okay, now take some time to reflect on this question about what you do, you know, and then it would have felt like even more like relevant to me, and I would have gotten a lot more out of it. I think if there's maybe like 3 things that you asked us to work on our own, like something you could think of in 30 seconds in your own head, or, you know, stuff like that.
Awesome.
But thank
Yeah.
you. It was awesome.
No, thank you. I appreciate that feedback. That is very, very good.
Thank you, Allie. We're out of time, so I have one final question for you, Josh. Once I get my slide set up, let's see what's happening right now. Oh, no, Nicholas. Sorry. Okay, what as a community can we do for you? That's what I want to get to.
Excellent question. So right now I'm on a personal mission, and this isn't like some 30-day challenge thing. It's just a personal mission I gave myself to help 100 solopreneurs answer the question, what do you do? And I gave I was shooting for the end of March. I'm only in up to like number 60 something right now. So I've got slots available. If anybody would appreciate a half an hour, just one-on-one, or if you know anybody that would appreciate that. And we actually work real time and develop your unique version of that answer that you can take, and it's free. I don't charge. This is just something I'm doing as a public service. We can do that, and then you have a business asset you can take and actually use. And I promise that conversation's a lot more uplifting than my presentation. So in fact, I'm going to work some of that stuff probably into my presentation based on the feedback. So I definitely appreciate that. And I'll put in the chat, maybe, I guess, the link to register if anybody wants to do that.
Awesome. Well, Josh, let's give you one more. Oh, hey, what happened? Wait for it. Round of applause.
There it is.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is now an opportunity for community announcements. And if anybody in Zoom or in the audience have an event they want to share that they're going to or hosting. See, Allie has one she wants to share. Go ahead.
Sorry to bogart everything. So we have this new event space, super exciting, at Green Spaces. It's in Rhino in Denver, on 26th and Larimer, actually 26th and Walnut-ish. So we're starting to have more events geared towards startups and all of that kind of good stuff. Tomorrow will be our first lunch and learn. It's a discussion around sustainable eating with Jessie Johnson, who is an amazing nutritionist and expert in sustainability. She's going to be hosting that here at noon. Tomorrow, I'll post in the chat the link to sign up for that. But please just feel free to come in anytime at lunchtime. Tomorrow it'll be from 12 to 1 and join us in the discussion. And we'll be having more events here like that moving forward. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Allie. Any other announcements from the gallery? Okay. Well, as Allie was mentioning, Green Spaces, we're gonna be next week hosting 1 Million Cups here at Green Space and also at Zoom. We have to maybe fix a couple things, but we're pretty excited to host people here. We have, if you can notice in this other view here, the space where we have some chairs and tables to spread out as well. There's free coffee in the back too. We'll be starting, you can come here as early as 8:45, 8:30, what time? 8:30 if you want to come and hang out. I'll be here setting up, so if you want to hang out with me, that'd be awesome.
And there's free coffee.
That too. So we're gonna try this out, try this hybrid setup. We're open to feedback. If anything's not working or if you have suggestions, please let me know. this is a work in progress. And just a quick reminder, everybody here is awesome. Keep on being awesome. Thank you so much for coming out this week. Without you guys, this event would be nothing. So, yeah.
I want to do a little poll. I know we only have a few people on today, but who would be? Is anyone planning on coming to Green Spaces next week? Are you more comfortable staying at home? Just like maybe by a show of hands, like who's gonna stay at home and join virtually, and who's coming in person? Oh, Paul, you're muted. I don't know if you're trying to talk.
I don't know. I mean, I might come in and I'll just see how it goes. But
Okay, yeah, no pressure. I just wanted to get a general feel for that. So, thank you.
Josh, I'm expecting you to be here next week.
I will do my best. I gotta find an airplane.
Awesome. And I have a pun for you guys for today. What do you call an alligator in a vest? An investigator.
That's my kind of humor.
There you go.
Love it.
You guys can use that today. All right. Well, I want to thank for everybody coming out. We'll be here next Wednesday. If you guys want to stick around, Josh, Paul, and Rob and chat, I'll leave the Zoom open if you guys want to connect as well. But thanks for coming out. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody. Just be an audience member too. Great job. I think Paul left, but I guess Josh and Rob, if you want to hang out and talk, you can. But if not, really appreciate you guys coming out this week and presenting.
Yeah, I've got about 8 minutes before my next meeting, so I'm happy to chat for a short bit.
Yeah, Josh, I have some questions for you actually that I wanted to ask. And thank you, Nick, for putting this all together.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, you guys are great.
So I like your branding, Josh, and I like the, because my weakest area as an entrepreneur is marketing for sure. So like a lot of what you said was, resonated well with me. And the thing that I would say though is, and because you said you were in finance and an engineer.
Both in the past, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I came from the finance world too. I was a sell-side equity analyst. And so my mind just works with numbers. And so my question to you would be, all right, if I work with you, quantify for me in some way how working with you benefits me, whether that's in more eyeballs on my website, more revenue, more brand recognitions, quantified in some way. Like, what is that? How do I know, or how would I measure my success of working with you?
Yeah, that's an excellent point and question. And what I do on my site, I actually have specific deliverables for every package I do, and I don't charge for time on purpose. This is exactly what you're going to get. Here's exactly why you're getting it, and where this stuff goes. Whether it's on your site, your web copy, whether it's how you give a presentation or it's the presentation itself. Because honestly, for me, the only success is results. It's not, you get a lot of I do mental toughness coaching and mindset coaching separate.
Cool.
So that you get all of me. When someone is my client, I can't compartmentalize. I'm not good at that. So I pretty much bring everything. I have a whole goal crushing thing I do as well. So everything I know, everything I have to motivate or inspire or to teach comes with me. And that's truly what makes me unique. And I always make sure the deliverables are very, very clear. And if it takes us 2 weeks to get there, it takes us 10 weeks. I don't care. We're hitting the mark. We're getting there, and it's going to be right. It's going to be powerful, and it's going to work. So I didn't do that in the presentation. I didn't get into those details because this was more of kind of an expert talk versus like all about me. I was trying to avoid that. But hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just curious, how did you get into this? So how did you go from finance and then engineering to this? Like, you're very different worlds.
Oh, I've been
but compared
Yeah,
to-
I've done a lot more. I've been in the gym industry. I did competitive bodybuilding. Dude, like I've tried all kinds of stuff, man. And here's what happened. I finally decided I couldn't ignore my genius anymore. The stuff I'm good at with the branding and asking the right questions, building rapport with someone, getting the truth out of them, and then articulating it. I just have a weird skill, and I create you 10 taglines right now. I'll teach you how to build that rapport with people. I was doing it in corporate America. All my stuff went through the factory the fastest, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing it naturally. So I just decided about a year ago with COVID, I'm like, why don't I just take my genius, stop fighting it, stop putting it into other places, and just make a business out of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm the example of what I teach. This is what I want people to do. I want people to freaking take their genius, get paid for being themselves, and bring it to the world, bring their value to the world, and get paid for it. This is not an either or. I was told in corporate America, you could love what you do or make lots of money. Like that was an either or proposition. Bull crap. Right? That's not true.
What led you to the gym industry?
When I was out in Oregon, I lived in Oregon for 12 years, and I used to work out quite often, and I started losing the passion for it. And someone said, "Hey, why don't you do bodybuilding competitions?" I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll try it." And then that naturally led into a partnership with a gym where I owned a 20,000 square foot gym with a partner of mine.
Oh.
And never really was profitable. So I learned a lot of hard business lessons that way.
Yeah, it's really tough.
How many $14 gym memberships do you have to sell to turn a profit on a 20,000 square foot gym?
Yeah, when your rent is whatever, 20.
Yeah, I'll let you guess
foot,
at that.
25 a square foot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was an experience, right? And I enjoyed it. I don't want to go back there.
Yeah. Did you do a franchise or an independent?
Both, actually. We were independent, then we franchised, then we went back independent.
What franchise did you go with?
It was called Fitness 1440. And
Okay.
it's not quite as common as, it's not like a 24-hour fitness place.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
super tough industry. Where did you learn about marketing yourself? Like how you marketed yourself for today? Where did you learn all that stuff?
I just went through it. I like control. I'm that person that I will deep dive into anything to learn more about it. And I did hire a lot of coaches too, by the way. I hired people, I got lots of expert advice, and I did a lot of my own research because I want to be able to ask the right questions to those folks.
Sure.
And yeah, I've had far more failures than successes in that, by the way. But I've learned so many amazing things that served me to today. So I know people struggle in marketing. It's a huge concern. And the key to where I think people get confused is between branding, marketing, and sales.
Right.
Three very different things. Marketing is a directional amplifier. So if you know anything technical, like it amplifies a message and it points it at a market. That's all marketing does. But if your message is shit, if your message is just complete garbage or confusing, or you're wasting dollars. And that's where branding comes in. And that's my specialty. That's why it drives me crazy when I see someone say, I need branding. I need my logo done too. I'm like, wait, which is it? Do you want a logo or do you want your brand? Because they're not the freaking same thing. Stop it. Yeah.
So if you, based on the presentation that I gave today, which again was like really compressed, what are the top one or two things that you think I need to do differently with my brand or with this company?
So for you, and this is interesting because I was in the space for a little bit. For you, the key is awareness. You're talking to your people that you're talking to, your ideal client, don't know they have a problem.
Right.
Well, they don't know. Okay, they know they have a problem. They don't know what the problem is. So when you speak to them, it's going to be crucial that you speak to the problem they know. They're stressed out. They're broke. They can't seem to get along with their kids. They're not getting promoted at work. You need to talk. Be very, very careful because it's so easy to fall into the trap of talking about social media being the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, but how does that manifest? That's what you want to message. Don't message social media being the issue because you're gonna get a lot of defensiveness. People saying, no, it's not that big a deal. I don't have a problem. Every druggie doesn't think they have a problem, right? Every druggie's like, it's cool, I can control it. No, you can't. You're addicted.
Yeah.
So if you're done with the needle sticking out of your arm, if you're done waking up in a back alley somewhere, if you're sick and tired of that, then let's have a conversation and let's talk about what's really freaking going on. And I'm going to blow your mind on this, right? And that's one thing. So the key is creating that awareness, but messaging it properly. And then what you need to bring to the table too, I think would be fantastic. You have to have a coaching option. I'm not saying that's the only thing you do, but there's got to be that level of accountability, because it's just like the gym industry. It's just like health and fitness, like you talked about. People know what to do. Look, people know the right foods to eat. I don't care. They know they're right. Pizza or salad, which is better for you? Like everyone, I used to ask the question to my personal training clients: pizza or salad, which is better? Well, salad. Okay, why do you need meat? What do you understand? You already have the right answers. You just need someone to kick your ass and hold you accountable until you're past the addiction stage.
Yeah.
Sweat it out, right? Let's get rid of the addiction. Let's get rid of all the crap that you've been told. Let's unlearn a bunch of things that don't serve you. But I'm going to help you through the process. And I think that's where you can shine as a main offering, as a top level offering, let's say. And then you can have programs that can do the same thing down below that.
Well, I really appreciate that insight. I know you got to go here, Josh. But what I pull up your website here, and I'll put in some information. I'd like to grab that half an hour with you if that's cool, and just chat more about this.
Absolutely. And then I get to ask more questions and dive a little deeper into what you're doing, which I really want to do. That would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to share whatever with you. Is that the best way for me to just fill something out on the website, or should I email you, or what's like the best way for me to do that?
Yeah, right on the top of the website there, the setup for a CFI session, a compelling first impression. Okay. Do that, and then that'll give you a link to schedule a half an hour with me, and that's the easiest way. And then we'll just have it on the calendar.
All right, that sounds great.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed the presentation today, Josh, and
likewise.
I thought it was great. I'm interested in chat more with you.
I am a huge believer in what you're doing, and that's my first requirement before I sit down with someone. So any way I can support you and help, I'm happy to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, it's it's really something I'm passionate about, and I like left studying this for a while, and then I came back. I just like, it's something that I feel like I'm just drawn to it. Like it shows me I didn't choose it,
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work, though. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again. I'll do that after this, and then I hope you have a good rest of your week, Josh.
Yes, thank you, guys. See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.